Hello, everyone. Woo, welcome to the Guru Mama Coffee Corner. Yes, come on in. Ooh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Yes, beautiful day. Um, where to begin? Where to begin? We have the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Aries. So that's my daughter, right? So organization, expansion, future, wanting to create, have newness, stability. And it really got me to think about also disruption. Aquarius, new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of doing things. It is ruled by Uranus. We want to create something new. We want to step into something new. We have Mars that is going to be coming into Aquarius tomorrow and becoming that disruptor. What does it mean? Like within your own self, within your own spirituality, disruption. The world around us does not like disruption. They don't like it when you speak out of turn or you go against the flow. And we see it over and over again. We see when people stand up, they say something, we call them crazy, we call them, you know, conspiracy theorist. We call them many names. We have many names for them. And this is where the energy is coming in. The energy is really coming in to allow us to stand up, to say things, to be the disruptor, to be that disruptor. What is it to be a disruptor? What is it to be the person to think of the future, to step forward in that future age of thinking? The expansion is there, and it's a beautiful expansion. And in order to have something new, you got to speak out. You got to push forward. You have to activate this newness. This is about the building of something that is allowing us to have that expansion, have that vibration. And it is so viable for us. It's so there right now for us. And this, we also have with this Mercury is in Aquarius and it's doing a semi square over to Neptune. That creates tension between the linear, logical mind and the intuitive, otherworldly planet. This can be a great, for intuition, imagination, but the tense nature of the aspect can make us be spiritual bypassing, escapism, deception, or generally not wanting to see or deal with reality, balancing mind and intellect with the heart. Feelings and the intuition is the key. Now, as this transit occurs in the middle of the night, we have to pay attention to how our dreams are and how they appear to us in the unconscious. So, stepping in to be that radical, and that's where we can shut down and say, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. Do the spiritual bypassing. Now, spiritual bypassing is an interesting word. What is it? What is spiritual bypassing? So, by definition, the spiritual explanation is to dismiss or avoid complicated emotions or psychological ideas. So, spiritual bypassing is a tendency to use spiritual ideas or practices to sidestep or avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, unfinished development. It was developed in the 80s, I believe, by a Buddhist teacher. So when we are wanting to sidestep, and that's very much, we can be doing this very easily, where we don't want to listen to our emotion. We don't want to feel the pain. They don't acknowledge it. We don't want to acknowledge it because we want to be logical about that. It doesn't make any sense why we're feeling all these emotions or why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. This is experiences of nervousness, anxiety attacks, stress, emphasis to express emotion. So acknowledging the pain and learn to control the emotions, calmness. This is where we have to embrace it. We have to come into it. And that this is a beautiful time, especially with the sun in Aquarius and this moon coming into Aries. We want to embrace this beautiful energy. We want to face our emotions and our pain. And this is where, in doing so, we speak out. And when we speak out, this could be where people don't want us to speak out. People don't want us to say anything because it is a disruption. If you're hurting and you've been so used to pushing things down and just letting it go, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, it's just part of my growth. It's part of my karma, whatever excuse you use. I'm going to sneeze. No, hang on. Maybe not. Oh, you gotta love it when you're on a live and you sneeze, right? Or something like that comes up. And in my shamanic teaching, when you sneeze, that means you're on to the truth. So interesting. When you're stepping into this wisdom of yourself, you become the disruptor. You become the person because you are being truthful within inside yourself. You're looking at those emotions. You're looking at the parts of you that you have pushed down, shoved away. And now you are wanting to reveal, to talk about it, to let it out. That's why sometimes it takes people so long to really come to a where they've been abused, or people who've been gone through horrific circumstances don't talk about it. And then you hear them talking about it 15, 20 years later, because it comes to a point that I need to talk about it. Now, people will say, why are you talking about it now? You don't need to talk about it now. But it's been there. It's been eating away at them for so long that they've been just bypassing it. And here we have this energy that's coming in to get us to really look at what it is that we need to look at. And especially with a semi-square to Neptune, means stepping into that spiritual, intuitive, and understanding our emotions and the pain that we have. Yet it can be a tension because we don't necessarily, we want to be logical about it. That linear energy comes in. So this is a beautiful day, for us to balancing our mind, our intellect with our heart, feeling the intuition, feeling this beautiful energy that comes through to us. And I'm saying beautiful because when we are able to embrace the good, the bad, and the ugly within ourselves, then we are able to step forward in new and fantastic ways, in ways that we never thought. And sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's, we don't want to do it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to deal with it, but we have to deal with it. We have to deal with um, that sensitivity. We have to deal with the way that we need. I got like the way that we need to really step into who we are and step into that skin. Beautiful, beautiful energy today. Now, as we go on throughout the week gets, it's as typical. The week gets a little bit more intense because, Mars coming out of Capricorn into Aquarius. This is shifting the will and drive from earth to air, the body to mind, and so again, the past to the future. Mars in Capricorn was focused on success, hard work, maintaining power and control. Now he's coming in to be the vision, the rebellion, the revolution, and the change. Now, when we step into the things that we need to work on ourselves, we step into that vision, to that rebellion, and to that change. That Mars in Aquarius wants change. He wants it now. So you can be real radical, a little impulsive, a little bit of restlessness that comes in, which is a powerhouse of combination. So we have to pay attention to where the power is building and learn to wield it wisely. So this is a really beautiful time, especially on February 13th, to get a reading, to understand, where am I stepping forward to? What is, what is spirit trying to tell me? And sometimes we, in getting a reading, which I love, of course, and I do give readings, and I do have a sale on for 25% off this week, is that when we do get these readings, we are getting an in-depth and understanding of where we need to go. What do we need to work on? Not everything is going to work the way that we want it. There is going to be some kind of chaos and discord because, the sun in Aquarius sextiles over to lovely Aries. I mean, she has to make an appearance somewhere this week. She's making an appearance all, throughout, for some time now. But this goddess of discord and chaos today is a great day to embrace the change and be the activist. The shine a light on the shadow and disrupts the old paradigm. See, that's the thing. It's the disruptor. That's the energy that's coming in, is to be the disruptor, to be the change. When we're that disruptor and we're wanting to be that disruptor and that change, yeah, chaos comes, discord comes, because everybody wants to be compliant. Just let me do it. Just let me go on with my day. Just let me do what I need to do. I don't want to be able to, I don't want to look over there or look over there because that's too much for me. I just want to focus on me. I just want to focus on this road, which is totally fine. But when it comes to a point that you are so disconnected, not only with yourself, but the world around you, that's when things start to crumble. And especially when we're coming into a time of humanity on the planet, and the planet Earth that hinders us as a species, right? This is here our whole focus on helping to see what is within us and that hinders us, as well as, to clearly, what is going on with humanity. So with that sun in Aquarius really comes in, and that Aquarius Uranus energy is present this month. And it's a great, implement change. It's a great time to implement change. If I could speak, yes, and embrace the new. So opening your mind and accessing your greater vision. And as we do that, we have Venus is going to be coming in as well. So Venus goes from, Venus in Capricorn. She comes in and she's going to sextile Neptune in Pisces, aligning to the god of love and beauty with the planet of spirituality, mysticism, confusion, and delusion. And this sweet aspect is so linking the lower heart with the higher heart. So our personal love and divine is supported now. Being compassionate, loving, spiritual, creative, an outlook. And it's a great outlet for astrology. And this is with Venus in this earthy Capricorn. So also getting your natal chart done. What is your natal chart showing you? It is a blueprint. It is a pathway. It helps us to see what is coming up. It gives us an understanding on how to look at what is coming up and guiding us. And that's what it is. A natal chart and a reading is a guide. It's a guide showing you this is, here we're helping you and guiding you to explore new paths, to look at things that are more in depth within ourselves, to connect with our inner will and our expansion. And in doing so can be very, very scary. And it could cause us to spiritually bypass. It can get us where we are very hidden and we don't want to see, we don't want to do, we don't want to learn, we don't want to do it. So this is a wonderful, beautiful time today, and as we go through this week, to really step into the changes that are coming in for us and this expansion, and really stepping into our emotions and our feelings that we're having. Because sometimes when we're stepping into the emotions and feelings that we're having, it's a lot, because there's some things that we may not have dealt with and they're coming up to the surface, and they may make you angry, they may make you anxious, and they may make you feel sometimes less than, because you haven't dealt with them for a long time and you have a lot of attachments to them. You have a lot of ideas of what it is and what you are perceiving them to be. And sometimes going through it is that you're afraid that you're going to have to relive it. And it's not necessarily having to relive something. It is having to look at it in a observational way, like on your eagle's perch, and look at it and say, okay, let me unravel this. Let me look at the different cornerstones of what has been eluding me. Let me look at the areas in my life that I need to look at in order for me to be that growth and expansion in this world at this time, right? And allow myself to be that growth and expansion. Hello, Charlene. And in being that growth and expansion, I'm able to allow myself to be that powerful, beautiful being. And that, especially with that sun in Aquarius and that moon in Aries over the next 2 days is about expansion. It is about building this future. It is about looking at this newness. Now, this energy that's coming in right now is a lot of, especially, this is an encouragement for babies to be born. And so many parents, or so many people, young people who are of bearing age, are not wanting to have children, and I understand, because it feels like it's such a burden for these children, a burden of what they have to deal with. But the ones that are coming in at this time are the rebuilders. They are the a new indigo, a new formation of the indigo children. And this new formation of the indigo children is ones that are wanting to get things done, ones that have a vision of the future, a vision of understanding that disruption is good. Disruption is what we need in order to rebuild. But it's going to take some time, because many, the previous ones, the baby boomers, Gen X or whatever. Yeah, sure. You got a lot of videos out there about Gen X and stuff, like, oh, look at Gen X. Whoa, look at us. But the thing is that that's great. You're hardy. You can do things. You can go through shit. But how can we come together to build a place of peace, to build a place that is more in alignment with our heart, and come to that place of the heart? Because you got to think, when I see a lot of these videos about Gen X and stuff, I'm sort of like borderline baby boomer Gen X, right? I'm sort of at the end of that transformation. And I wasn't born of, my parents were not baby boomers. My brothers and sisters are baby boomers. So it's interesting, to see. Um, but my parents were pre-World War II, right? That's when they were born. They're born at the turn, just at the beginning of the turn of the last century. My mother would be 100 years old this year, you know? And I'm thinking, that was a generation that came in that knew hardship, that knew that you had to push against the grain. You had to really make things happen. And the baby boomers were ones that wanted comfort. They wanted to have the comfort. They wanted to have easy. They didn't, yeah, we had to work hard and do the things that we do, definitely, but they liked comfort. They're a creature of comfort. And then the Gen X's were, a little bit of rebellious coming in, but they still liked comfort. They still liked their stuff and the things that they do. And then came the millennials, where, they were another phase of indigo, where, like, coming in and now having to come in and take charge and look at the mess that has to be cleaned up, are a little overwhelmed. That's where you have a lot of anxiety, addictions to opiums, addictions to, anxiety and stress medications. A lot of the millennials weren't, because the Gen X generation was a generation that was the beginning of not wanting to go to church, not wanting to bring forth that spiritual part, right? They got it shoved down their throats from their baby boomer parents, because the baby boomer parents got it from their parents, who were, they were raised with hard work and religion and believing in God. And if you don't go to church, you'll go to hell. To the millennials, are like, what is God? What is faith? To the generation after that. And this is where after there is this new generation that is just being born, and those that were born with that Pluto in Capricorn, which will be the drive to create and build something new. It's when you look at it and you understand how the phases are, or how the frequencies are changing and moving, you get to really see the brightness of the future, see the brightness that is unfolding for all of us. Some of us may not be here to see it all, which is, will be gone because, some of us are getting on in age, and of course we are not going to be here maybe in another 50 years. Maybe we will, because of science, who knows? Maybe we'll have the neural links in our head or not. uh, but this is where, um, today, this energy is getting us to really begin to look at our own truth and begin to look at the things that are happening within our life, and come into that come into that place and know that we are love, know that we want to create something beautiful, and that we can have that through our expansion of our own selves and create that within our own selves now, and help to lay this part of the future down and help to support. That's what we're here to do. We have to support these beautiful new people coming in, these beautiful new little humans that are coming and being born. We have to come in and be that support, be that spiritual base. It's so important. It's so important not to, um, I guess, push like how rough and tough I am because I'm a Gen X kind of thing. It's I think it's hilarious, actually, to come in and embrace this part of ourselves and really look at our emotions and come in and deal with our stress and not do that spiritual bypassing. That is so important. Because a lot of times when I see, things about the Gen X, I'm just like, well, you guys are just spiritual bypassing. You're not looking at your truth. It's like, yeah, good. You're strong. Good. You were raised, your parents left you out on the street. Cool. Yeah, you had some crazy rock and roll. Um, Wonderful. I think that's great. I mean, I was a part of it. It was great. But the truth is that you got to come into that emotion, and that's where this energy is, and that's where people are going to have a lot of troubles. That's where people are going to have a lot of freakouts. We saw it this weekend. We saw crazy shootings this weekend. I knew this weekend would be crazy. I didn't know what was going to be disruptive, but there was huge disruptions, not only in the United States but in Canada as well, because a lot of people, it's a trigger. This trigger comes in, and just especially where it hits somebody in their chart, it's like that instantaneous, just like something can switch within you. And if you don't have a connection, if you don't have a spiritual connection with other people, it can be extremely difficult. It can be extremely difficult. So we have this beautiful expansion that's coming in, an expansion of connecting the higher and the lower heart. And didn't hear anything. I know a lot of people won't. A lot of people won't hear about what happened in Manitoba, hear about the shooting of down in Texas, right? That's not even, it's not, the thing is, I love it when people say about listening, it's not listening to the news. Like, I guess it's news, but because I listen to um other people that live in the area, or other YouTubers, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like just opening our world to understand, yeah, there's disruptions that are happening all over. Everybody was focused on the Super Bowl, and the whole thing with the Super Bowl and stuff, and that whole bit, to what else is going on in the world. And a lot of these disruptions that happen could cause other people to feel the anxiety, to feel what's going on, or feel very leery about going out, because they're feeling very unaware of what's going on. To the volcano in Iceland just disrupted again, and they say, there's going to be more volcanic eruptions in Iceland, and it's probably going to go on for many, many, many years, right? So that's a rumbling of the earth, and as is just spewing. They say it could go on for 100 years, continue on. And so we're seeing these disruptions happening all over, right? And we're seeing how these disruptions, and these frequencies are coming through. So in this beautiful energy that's coming in with the expansion is really getting us to get to the root of who we are, to get to the root of our connection, as above, so below. In my moon class that I'm going to be having starting on Sunday is learning how to connect with the energies of the moon, and how we can come into that connection and what that connection looks like for ourselves, and how we can work, because the moon is the fastest moving. We call it a planet in but we know it's not. But it's the fastest moving, and it, as it orbits not only around the Earth, but as the Earth is orbiting around the sun, right? So it's very quick. And so the effect of how the moon affects us, because as I say, the moon is only going to be 2 days in Aries. How is that affecting you? How are you feeling? Because Aries is that spark, is that innovator. It's the newness. It's spring, right? What are the seeds? What are the things that you're planting? What is that innovation? What is that newness as the sun, is in Aquarius? It's about that new expansion, that new idea. And we have other energies that are coming in. Aries, of course, the discord, the crazy. What is that crazy discord that causes? Because you're trying to do something new. You're trying to have that expansion. And you're wanting to have that expansion. You're being the disruptor. And in order to have that expansion and newness, you have to be the disruptor. You have to be the person that speaks out and say, hey, look at me over here. But many people don't want to say, hey, look at me over here, because, I might bug my neighbor. I might disturb this person, and this person may not like me. Fuck that. We see so many stories, within history, within biblical, within, throughout time and memorial, that it was the disruptors, those little ones that came in, that made a huge difference in the world. They were that thorn on the side. They were the ones that pushed things forward. And that's what we need now. And that's where we're heading now. So this week is even as we go into Wednesday, and Mars conjuncts Pluto on Valentine's Day. So this is aligning the lower with the higher will. Powerful, intense ways. This could be a huge surge. This could cause a lot of arguments, but if we surrender our egos to the higher, to something higher, this kind of astrology can help us move mountains. If we surrender it, it's like when people start talking about learning something new or wanting to expand themselves in something new, or they get a block over wanting to do it, and you got to ask why aren't you wanting to learn this? Why aren't you wanting to understand this? And it's like either there's some kind of fear or belief system that's within them that says, oh no, that's crazy, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want, that's you have an association of what that means, right? Or you freak out, oh, that means that you're going to become this or that. It's like somebody who's wanting to, for instance, somebody wants to study witchcraft. You're going to be eating babies and worshiping the devil. So they get into this belief, oh, I can't do that, it's all taboo, blah blah blah. To the other, where somebody says, I would love to learn more about the Bible. Oh, you're going to become a Bible thumper, and you're going to be going to church on Sunday, and you're going to be overtaken. So these extreme thoughts come in, right? Instead of coming in and surrendering the ego and understanding with the higher and the lower mind, along with the higher and lower heart energy, coming together and allowing for this burst of energy to come in, for this burst of understanding to come in, so that we are able to connect, So we are able to expand. So we are able to become true disruptors, because we are the support people of the newness of these new, beautiful, wide-eyed, beautiful children that are being born. They need to have some kind of support. And in order to have that support, we have to be the ones that are that base. We are the ones that have to be that. We are the ones that have to connect them back to nature, to understand what is nature. There's the nature of the world, right? There is the nature, as what we think about, the woodlands, the streams, but there is the nature of the universe. And coming into that understanding of what the nature of the universe is and how we can nurture that within our lives, and how we are able to connect with that, so that we are connecting as above, so below. So we can drop that grounding cord into the core. And, and as we're dropping that grounding cord into the core of the earth, it is understanding that when you go into the core of the earth, you're coming into the rebellion. You're coming in to being volatile, being that eruption. I'm going to go back to Iceland, that eruption that's coming up right now, and stepping into that, right? And so you're connecting yourself to that. You're connecting yourself to that core. And you're allowing for that to go through you, to connect, so that your higher mind, your higher self, your higher thoughts, your higher heart and mind connects with that above. So you connect with that divine and that universal energy. And as you connect it as above, so below, so you allow for that energy of volatility and rebellion to come through, and you allow for that beautiful energy of the intuition and the spirit and the love and the joy to come through and meet. And as we meet, we surrender the ego, because now we're stepping forward with love and joy. And that can be kind of hard in a world that doesn't want to have love and joy, or we think it doesn't, but it does. It does. I'm amazed. There was how much money? I think I just, let me look it up, because I wrote it down on my notes down here. On an ad, a Super Bowl ad that came out. And the Super Bowl, it was a religious ad on Super Bowl that came out. Because I don't really watch Super Bowl. It's not my thing. $7 million. So it was a Jesus ad, which actually I kind of agreed with. I love Jesus, I have to say. He's a real cool guy. Of love people, do not hate and kill. But it's a $7 million ad in order to get to people, whether it's religious or not. I mean, the meaning of it is the truth, right? Coming to that part of love, and coming to this place of connection, of connecting with the heart and connecting with the mind. So it's going to be quite a unique week. Only gave you a couple days of what's going on. So I'm going to pull some cards. And definitely, if you want a reading, they're 25% off this week. And if you are wanting to join me for my moon class that's coming up on Sunday, it's 3 consecutive Sundays. And so we can connect with the moon. And understanding the moon phases, and how each of the moon phases has something for us to begin with. I mean, we just came out of the new moon, which is the dark moon, and now we're moving into the waxing moon. So we're moving into this moon of expansion. So it's like looking at what are we expanding with? What is that energy that we're moving to to allow for the growth, right? And as we get to the full moon and we come to that fullness, and we come to the fullness of the goddess of this beautiful of blossoming, it's like through that blossoming we are able to release, and then we go into the waning and we come into, recessing back into the darkness and seeing, okay, what else can I create? What other things are there for me to create? Sorry, got go that way. It's too much sun. There we go. Got the sun coming in. So I'm going to just move over. Don't really want to close up. I don't want to close anything. I just want the sun to come in and allowing for that sun to come forward. There we go. We have the Queen of I don't give a fuck, but she's reversed. So again, she shows up. The Queen of I don't give a fuck. So she's coming in and she's letting you know you got to trust in your intuition. You got to trust in that knowingness. You got to step into that knowingness. She's very logical. She's out, this is what we're doing. But then she comes in and saying, okay, we got to come forward and really look down deep in how does that make me feel? Is this the right direction I need to go into? And as we do that, and as we look at it, we have the Tower coming in. So there is a disruptor coming in, and that's Aries, the goddess of chaos and discord. She's coming in. We have to have the Tower. As much as people want to avoid the Tower. I don't want the Tower. I don't want it. Oh my God, my life will go crazy. It has to go crazy. It has to be, it has to get muddy and murky and stuff in order for us to create something new. Out of the mud and the murk comes, beautiful flowers, right? So we have to allow for that to happen. There's a base there. There's a base, right? There's a rock base that's coming in there as things are falling apart and going crazy. I love that her crown didn't fall off. See, her crown didn't fall off. Her crown is still on. I would think that her dress looks kind of like I don't know, like a poofy pear or something, you know, as they're falling to the ground. This is where it's like, hey, yeah, you could fall to the ground and keep your crown on. The crown's still there. Life is shit, but I got my crown on, but coming into my intuition is going to be definitely hard because I want to be logical. I want to be logical with everything. And it says, okay, be logical. Look at what happens. So, and through that, the 9 of Cups, but it's reversed. So if you want your wishes and dreams to come true, there's work to be done. It's not just going to be handed to you on a silver platter. You got to do some work in order for it to actually happen. You got, that's where some of the logic comes in. All right. So we have to look at what it is that we need to work at and create and be honest with ourselves and be honest with the emotions that are coming up within ourselves. So there you go. Have a beautiful, fabulous day, everybody. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you and all that you say and all that you be and all you do. Have a blessed one, and we will talk to you soon. Yeah, baby. Woo. Off with the duck. Bye-bye.